Hello and welcome to Europa Universalis 4, and welcome to Beginning Anew. This will be an ongoing series where I analyze countries and discuss some tactics and strategies that you can use to become a world power and dominate the international stage. I'm always happy to receive more requests as to which country I should review next, but for now, let us begin anew. Today's nation, Lithuania. Lithuania is most definitely the most powerful nation in Eastern Europe, at least in this point in time, with its 346 development. Poland, on the other hand, only about 200, Muscovy 200, Novgorod only barely 100, Sweden 100, Golden Horde 150, Crimea even less than 100. You actually have more development than even France at the beginning of the game. So, Lithuania is most definitely one of the nicer nations to play. You're also one of the very few kingdoms that were involved in the Crusade that still has a king. Poland and Hungary both have an interregnum. Bohemia as well, however, they did not lose theirs in the Crusade. Poland is rivaling a multitude of countries. Most notably we have Muscovy, Poland, Crimea, Livonian and the Teutonic Order. All of these are definitely good targets, especially Livonian Order, who can be vassalized in a single war. Something we'll look into later, same with Crimea, so 2 vassals would definitely be a good start for any campaign. Continuing on, we have, of course, a duchy rank, which will be a very interesting fact to use for an achievement later on. We are Eastern Tech, so we might fall behind a tiny bit, however you do have multiple ideas and advancements within your nation that will make this less of a problem. Lithuanian ideas. We have manpower recovery speed plus 15%, a very, very good thing, and taunts of heretics plus 4%, which looking at it would not actually be so bad, but once you look at your religious map mode, you can see that more than half your country is Orthodox, so that will definitely come into play. We have the Warlord Dukes. We have a land leadership plus 1, definitely a good thing to have, especially at the beginning of this game. Akusin Lavise, the Lithuanian for Golden Liberty, is a set of laws, and these laws make stability 10% cheaper. Definitely something good to have, even if you might not use it very often. The Magdeburg laws, it is part of the westernization of Lithuania, and so we have a national tax modifier plus 10. This will even be made better by the Magnite Estates, the Little Kings, which will increase your production efficiency plus 10%. These two make your economy quite a lot better. Lithuanian Hussars, much like the Winged Hussars of Poland, you get a cavalry combat ability plus 20%. However, of course, Winged Hussars have 33%. So, you're not as good, but you definitely have more land, and as we all know, clay is the reason we live. The Statutes of Lithuania is a legal reform which causes your national unrest to go down by -2. Definitely something good to have. And Lithuanian Renaissance is the technology cost minus 5%. Something only helping you once you reform your government, well, not reform your government, but turn into Western tech, making you a lot better off. Lastly, we have the Lithuanian Ambitions, which is land leader maneuver plus 1. Not the greatest things to have at the end of the game, but it will help nonetheless. Your king is Grand Duke Kazimierz Jagiellon, a name so large and so almost interestingly amazing. I find it quite nicely. 441, not the best in military, something you might want to have in the beginning, so a focus there might be recommended. However, we'll continue now onto the history of Lithuania. History. The history of Lithuania is quite sad to begin. If we start scrolling through the dates, we'll see what happens. Lithuania is under attack from the east, and we'll see that as Poland grows, Muscovy does too, and soon enough Muscovy is invading Lithuania and taking out its very core provinces. Lithuania continues to decline and decline as Poland grows, and eventually the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth does come to be, as we see here, in the year, I don't know the year myself, so we'll have to do this together. Let's have a look. 69, 68. Here we go. The year 69, 68. Not entirely sure as to which date it was. However, it does happen around this point. As we can see, Russia is currently taking land from them, and as Lithuania is annexed, it was most probably one of self-defense. I don't know the history myself, but this would seem like a sensible thing to have happen. After which point, the Commonwealth is formed. We can still count that as Lithuania, I feel. However, the Commonwealth continues to collapse, being attacked from all sides. We have Prussia, we have Brandenburg, we have Austria, even Russia most likely, a little pushback during the 1619. However, from then on, things don't go well. The Ottomans are expanding in the south, the Russians are expanding in the east, and Austria is taking back land. War of religious wars in Europe, making the Commonwealth a bigger target. We have Austria growing now. Russia will soon come and take out what is left. At the end of this campaign, the Commonwealth will be no more, and all we will have left is the Grand Duchy of Krakow, which will be a tiny nation north of Austria, bordering Prussia. Now here we go. The Commonwealth is slowly becoming smaller and smaller, and it's disappeared, with Poland being formed shortly during the French Revolution, but at the end of the game all we have left is Krakow, the Grand Republic. Tactics. And I welcome you to Lithuania in-game. Now, looking at these forts starting off, we can see a very big hole in them. Here. The hordes will most definitely be extremely difficult to control, especially with steps all around here. And also, looking at your accepted culture map mode, Russian is not accepted, which is very important to notice, and Lithuanian is a very small culture as well. Ruthenian is much more likely to be something you want to invest into. However, let us look at the culture map mode itself, if I can find it. They've changed this so badly. There we go. Culture map mode. Lithuania is actually part of this area, and as a result, what might be good is to accept a cultural shift into Ruthenian, which would give you a lot more land, which you could use efficiently, and Russian would open up as a good investment. However, that is for later. Anything else I want to say is, of course, that forts are important, and it might be a good idea to build one, perhaps in Kursk or Pereslav. Pereslav is especially good since it controls these many provinces. It is, of course, up to you. As I was saying earlier, Livonian order is instantly vassalizable, 93%. So is Crimea at... Oh, they changed that. So no longer Crimea, sadly, but I'm sure if you invest a little bit of time, you can easily get Crimea down to a vassalizable size and use them perhaps as a bit of a push into the Horde lands. Teutonic Order is most definitely not vassalizable at 158, but they do have very good provinces for the Baltic Sea. Poland is your friend, most definitely, and the Polish inheritance of Lithuania will not happen if there is a player in charge. As a result, you have nothing to fear in that regard. However, you can form the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth if you wish. This is actually part of an achievement, which I will talk about later. However, we have Western focus, definitely a good thing to think about when you have perhaps Wien or Prague. Prague is the more northern of these, even though it is quite deep in Western territory. If you want to have a look, we can have Prague. Prague is in Bohemia, capital, and we have, of course, Wien as the Austrian. Other tactics you can use is an invasion of Novgorod. However, this would make Muscovy most likely not enjoy being your ally, since they will have claims on Muscovy, especially from the beginning. Poland is potentially somewhere to expand into. However, at the beginning of the game, it is most definitely better to have them as an ally than anything
Regarding
else.
Denmark, we usually have them as a rival, but very occasionally they might be friendly. But
of course, they are in this case not. This usually has to do with the fact that Denmark gets claims on Osel and most of the Livonian Order, something that you yourself could definitely invade. Also, they are one of the more powerful nations in this area, so Poland and Lithuania are most definitely rivals. Carrying on, we have actually not much more to go. Another tactic I had thought of was to vassalize Fyodoro and use them as perhaps an eating machine for Crimea, if you wish to go for a pure Orthodox nation. Of course, as they are Orthodox, you will be able to force your religion upon them. Say if we vassalize, and so if we vassalize Fyodoro, if I can only remember what their I have given up. FEO. How am I to know this? I don't know. Anyhow, if we vassalize Fyodoro, we will have the ability to force their religion. Of course, they have to be positive. However, once we do, their liberty desire will increase by 50%. But at this point, you have nothing to worry about, especially since Fyodoro is a single province. You will be able to fabricate claims over the Gulf of Odessa, and so that ends our tactics for now. Of course, once you start becoming a relatively strong power, the balances and of course the enemies you might face might change drastically, and as such I will not give any late game advice just yet. Achievements. Achievements as Lithuania are slightly limited. There's only one achievement that is possible for Lithuania only, that being Uncommon Wealth, which pretty much just requires you to form the Commonwealth as Lithuania. Of course we can do this diplomatically or not diplomatically, aka militarize. 3 other achievements are probably good to do as Lithuania, the first of which is Grand Duchy, which requires you to, as a duchy, have 1000 development points. Of course, it's interesting to note that Lithuania does start as a duchy, so if you wished, this is probably the easiest way to do it. 2 other achievements probably easily done as Lithuania are Full House and Marshy Marsh. Full House requires you to have 3 vassals and 2 marches. Easily done simply by going to diplomacy and releasing a variety of vassals. Marshy Marsh, on the other hand, requires you to but to hold a march that owns 2 marsh provinces. If we have a look at our province type, simple terrain, we can find ourselves marshes. Here we go. These 3, and if we have a look, we have Gallica Volhynia right next door. So if you wanted to release them, go to diplomacy, find these, release them, then we make them as a march, good, and then we give them these 2 provinces, easily done. We will grant province Pinsk, and we will grant them the province of Turów. And voila, we have a march that owns 2 marsh provinces. And that would give you the achievement Marshy Marsh. Marshy March. Anyhow, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. That would be all in terms of achievements and all in terms of Lithuania. I did get a request for Lithuania itself, and I'm happy to have made it true, even though it might have taken a little while. As I said though, I'm happy to have more requests coming in, no big deal. The channel is growing nicely. We are getting more and more subscribers every day, and I'm definitely happy to see this happening. So yeah, I'll see you next episode.